Hello everyone, that's my Cameroonian passport. And my Cameroonian national identity card. I am Lesode Epule, a student with the University of the People since 2021. As a full-time teacher and a school administrator, I resorted to taking one course per term. However, this program has enhanced my teaching practice and technological skills. My presentation is a reflection on my master's program of education in advanced teaching at the University of the People. First of all, what is a research and practice portfolio? It contains accumulated records, including artifacts that enhance one's knowledge and skills meant for professional purposes with a goal to improve the teaching and learning process. The following is an overview of the content I'll be discussing in my presentation, including the description of the portfolio and its organization, followed by an explanation of how this portfolio reflects my teaching philosophy. Next is an analysis of how the artifacts selected capture a sense of me as a teacher and my understanding of teaching and the instructional purpose. But before that, I'll give an explanation of how this portfolio reflects my teaching philosophy. After that, I'll give a discussion on the challenges faced while creating this portfolio and how I overcame them. And lastly, I'll give a description of how I imagine using this portfolio in my work as a teacher. This portfolio includes a notebook made up of notes representing all 12 previous courses covered as a student of the University of the People, beginning with the most recently assessed course known as the Research in Education to the very first courses of creating positive classroom environments and education in contents taken since 2021 through to 2023, containing artifacts of my liking, names of instructors, sources, notes, and reflections on research components, practice components, and reflective component as the pattern adopted for each course. As you can see, coming to the analysis of the interconnectedness among categories, entries in my presentation show how it is imperative to create a positive classroom environment. Global philosophies and perspectives of education, taking into consideration today's increasingly diverse classrooms, urging teachers to develop and implement instruction that meets the needs of all students through personalized learning in inclusive classrooms. Also, how it is important to understand learner characteristics and learning about adolescents while developing appropriate instructional design and strategies, and at the same time incorporating technology into the classroom. The barriers or discovery of barriers to learning and the proposed modifications and accommodations to support learners under instructional adaptation was very meaningful, while balancing formative and summative assessment, depending on the purpose of assessment, was very lucrative. Then issues of global competence through globally oriented classrooms where teachers serve as reflective practitioners, educational leaders, decision makers, and change agents were very instrumental. While we learned how to curb illiteracy with advanced practices for teaching, reading, and writing, creating a global mindset in today's students as teachers differ curriculum instruction and assessment by exploring different learning styles with strategies that promote critical thinking and problem-solving skills geared towards education for sustainable development in an ever-evolving world. Reflecting on my teaching philosophy, many philosophers impacted my learning during this period. Remarkable was John Dowell, whose philosophy on experience and education have greatly impacted my future designs of the curriculum for a better and quality education, grounded in experience, where education builds competence in students to become productive in their society. This progressive approach puts the learner at the center of their own knowledge rather than being mere recipients of knowledge. Therefore, I personally understand better, especially now, why and how teachers' role have greatly evolved over time, because we are expected to do more by offering unique learning experiences to learners, especially these days that learning continues at home, in the community, and in the digital world. Also, sociology theories connected my philosophy to global issues like sustainability, barriers to learning, and gender issues, which also reminded me of social justice and equity. Hence, I do not only apply strategies learned in my classroom, but I also create a good rapport with my students and their parents to create a conducive learning environment. My role as a facilitator pushes me or pushes my students to be creative and engage in critical thinking because of project-based learning, balancing formative and summative assessment to improve understanding, while I give them regular constructive feedback. Above all, my participation in professional learning communities promote collaboration with my colleagues and give me an opportunity for self-reflection. How the selected artifacts capture a sense of me as a teacher and my understanding of teaching and the instructional process. These artifacts demonstrate professional achievement for me, exemplifying my focus on learners as it enhances my creativity and instruction as a teacher. It equally portrays purposeful learning that shows value for learners through guidance, constructive feedback, and general improvement of the teaching and learning process while considering diversity, inclusion, culture in my classroom. What challenges did I experience while creating this portfolio presentation, and how did I overcome them? According to Roger Crawford, being challenged in life is inevitable, being defeated is optional. Firstly, the regular blackouts and internet disruptions caused me to develop technological skills. I'm now capable of working and submitting assignments from my mobile phone whenever and whenever internet conditions are favorable. I've also learned to be very patient and flexible. To add to that, in-text citation at the beginning of this program was a real challenge, but the constant guidance and feedback from the instructors gradually improved my skills, especially as I kept referring to APA guidelines. Writing portfolio assignments was really challenging at the beginning. The constant work on them weekly and further research made my work better until Dr. Scott confirmed that I had the ability to accomplish my academic goals. The challenge of using fairly used technological tools almost got to me as I changed from one computer to another because either this computer's camera was bad or there was no microphone. The reason I am using a USB external microphone for this presentation. And lastly, an exigent transfer caught me between the courses of research in education and this capstone. Moving long distances at the beginning of my applied professional inquiry course kept me anxious, but working extra time and with the encouragement of my instructor, Dr. Ann Wagner, I picked up the courage to continue. How I imagine using the portfolio. Since this portfolio represents professional growth for me, I will continue to use it to monitor changes in the field of education. I will apply all best learning and teaching practices. I will continue to use data and learning experiences and even update it as time goes on. In a nutshell, I am confident enough to now say that I fit in the description of a reflective practitioner as described by Dr. Jane Gatuma, a Kenyan researcher in the University of Nairobi, who wrote in her book on educational leadership in 2021 that a reflective teacher collects, analyzes, and evaluates data which must be reflected upon to plan, make decisions, and take action in order to meet the needs of all students. Thanks for your keen attention.